An interesting point was raised by several participants about the changing nature of relocation. Millennials, or people born in the 80s and early 90s, are not looking for the job first. They look for the city and the place they want to live and then find a job. That's unlike the boomers before them, who looked for the job and then settled in a city and accommodated themselves. And sometimes the reasons people move here are unique.
22 years ago, my husband had always wanted to live up in this area. He actually pulled off of the thruway and saw this beautiful Queen Anne home and bought it on the spot without telling me first. and just fell in love with the history, the architecture, the people, and we've been very happy where we are in Amsterdam.
So how do we describe the place we call home? We asked our participants how they describe this region to people they meet around the country. Most define us as the capital of New York State, though many feel that title is a little too obscure and simply say we live a few hours north of New York City.
When they first hear what the capital region is, they just say, where is it?
I think this is a phenomenal area, and sometimes I'm asked to describe it, and I say it's equidistant relatively from Montreal, Boston, and New York City, and that sells it.
When I describe the Capital District, I describe the fact that we have a very educated workforce. Our strengths here are our education, healthcare facilities. We enjoy great linkage to Boston, the Adirondacks, Canada, downstate, metropolitan New York City. And I found that unfortunately some folks from outside the area think of us as just the capital.
Usually that's the first thing, not New York City, not, another town or city in New York, but Albany is the capital. And there's a lot more than just the government here, but that's, we are a center and a hub for commerce and, of course, now a technology hub in this country.
To most people, our region is simply not known for anything that earns us instant recognition nationally. To others, we're known in the international business community as an emerging technology hub. But more on that in a moment. Geographically, the region is unlike any other. We were not formed as a single city with a concentric ring of suburbs. One participant summed it up for the group by saying, quote, "There's a nebulous center of our region, but it's kind of a tri-city region with an interior suburb." They added they thought of the region itself as the center of business, technology, and culture.
There's definitely different parts to the capital region, unlike some cities that are built off of a hub approach and suburbs out. We have a lot of different hubs in the capital region. We've got Albany, Schenectady, Troy, we've got the Saratoga region, and they all have their own personalities.
Still, other times our participants define us by what we're near. In 5 minutes, you're in rural America. In 2.5 hours, you're in New York City, Boston, or for a little longer drive, Montreal. We're in the foothills of the Adirondacks and Catskills, Saratoga, Lake George.
You can have access to places like metropolitan areas like New York City or Boston within 3 hours. You can go hiking up in the Adirondacks in an hour. You can be up in Vermont in an hour and a half.
I love that it has the potential to be successful as a big city, but it has kind of a small city feel. It's the perfect mix.
I love the depth and the sense of history in this area. I love walking over these places where so many people have tread before and left their imprint on our culture, on every effort we make. You're standing on shoulders of people that have been before you, and that's been very exciting to me since I've been here.
There is so much so close. But about the place itself, overwhelmingly, most people describe this region as that of a small town and a city wrapped up in one. They describe this place as the best of both worlds.
And with the value in the housing, with the quality of the schools, with the fact that it's easy to get to work no matter where you live and where you work, this is just a wonderful place to move to.
The small town feel that Sarah was talking about.
One thing was very clear to us. People love the quality of life here. One participant said it's like the Wizard of Oz. There's no place like home. He had a chance to travel to a number of places, but really felt the capital region by far is the most up-and-coming area around.
I think the quality of life in Albany, in particular in the city, is still very high in comparison to other cities of our size across the state of New York and also across the country.
But we weren't always so optimistic. Our psyche seems to have changed a bit over the past few years. We heard of a growing pride in our region. Many people said they don't hear as many references to Smallbany as they used to, that there's far less negative talk about this area than in the past. They described it as an energy fueled by entertainment, business, and high tech. One participant said, quote, "There are so many of those examples that the words that apply are world class."
Basically, you can find anything you need in the Capital District, and if you're into the cultural things such as movies and cinema and stuff, you've got Albany and Saratoga. If you like a more relaxed environment, there's many suburbs.
92% of respondents agree that their community is a great place to live. The main reasons respondents say they live where they do are access to nature, to be near family, or for personal reasons, peace and quiet. In fact, the topic of our safety and crime rarely came up at all throughout this study.
There's always something to do. There's a tremendous amount of arts and culture. There's a tremendous amount of entertainment. It's close to Boston, New York City, Montreal, the Adirondacks. You can always go hiking, kayaking. The river's right here.
Well, we moved here in July, and I have to admit it was a surprise, because you hear of the Capital Region as sort of something way up north. And within the first 3 weeks, we heard more world-class music than we had heard in 2 years in Boston.
Here again, participants of our study were very happy with the options that we have here or nearby. They told us the region offers many cosmopolitan conveniences, from refined cultural opportunities, college and professional sporting events, and large community festivals, as well as ready access to pursuits such as skiing, hiking, boating, and more. But as happy as we seem about the quality of these options, there is still a lot of work to be done when it comes to access. Participants shared their criticism of cities that seem to close after 6 most evenings, and that may hinder our ability to grow freely. One participant commented that even though we aren't technically one city of 1 million people, we sure do act like it sometimes. But we fall short other times, adding, "We could attract and retain more young people if our downtown stayed open and had shopping." The kind of things that they expect to find in slightly larger cities. We also could do a better job supporting sports teams and entertainment venues. Nobody seems to know why they're not sold out every night. Some said we're fair weather friends. Other participants who recently moved here told us we take it for granted, that we don't appreciate all the great things that we have here.
Are we really Tech Valley yet? I don't know.
You know, we are a center and a hub for commerce, and of course now a technology hub in this country.
As with many economic shifts, the region's demographic profile is also following suit. Our housing market and unemployment rates are bucking national trends.
Forbes did say we were one of the 25 strongest real estate markets in the country, and it's certainly something we can relate to, we can agree with. If you take a look at the history of housing values in the Capital Region, you'll see that they've been strong, they remain strong.
Our median income and education levels are also growing. This rising tide seems to be lifting many boats. Forbes magazine recently ranked the Capital Region as the 3rd best place in the country for education, and that comes as no surprise to our participants, who refer to our region as a learning mecca. They told us about the 21 colleges and universities with 65,000 students.
You know, you hear Boston described as the Athens of America, and we don't fully appreciate the extent to which we have clusters like that, and we have one such in this Capital Region, of colleges and university that may make us a small Athens.
How do we connect those resources even better? In addition to bringing in students and retaining students and bringing in faculty, what's been encouraging over the last few years is a greater collaboration with industry, higher education, and government. But I would argue that there are some models in this country that have really figured out technology transfer and have really supported beyond just research and development, but have figured out how to take that out of the classroom, out of the laboratory, and into the marketplace.
Like which ones, be specific?
Madison, Wisconsin is among the best in the country at doing that. The Research Triangle is probably 2nd best.